What's going on, guys? Matthew back again, this time for another TV review. Today we're reviewing Severance Season 2, Episode 8, titled Sweet Vitriol. Let's get into it. This episode is directed by Ben Stiller and written by Adam County and Casey Perry. We start off with a great opening shot that really reminds me of The Shining. We then see that Cobell is stopped, and this is a very Cobell-centric episode. We actually have not seen her in, I believe, maybe 4, maybe 5 episodes. I've mentioned it, I think my past 2 or 3 reviews, that we haven't seen her in a long time, but we finally do get to see her again. We get to find out a little more information about her past, and we see her brushing her teeth, which I don't really understand. And like I said, when it comes to shows that are this well written and directed and acted, every little thing has a purpose. So her brushing her teeth, a little weird choice. Don't really know what it means. But she looks over and sees a guy who is huffing, I think that's what you refer to it as, ether out of a rag that he's got out of this bottle. And it's here that we see that Devin Scout calls for the first time. I still don't understand why Devin trusts her, but I mean, maybe we'll find that out once they actually meet and start working together. We then see the small town that she's entered in which she used to live. And there's a small diner where we see an old lady with tubes in her nose, an old man, and this man, I don't believe we caught his name. If we did, I missed it. But he definitely knew Cobell from the past, and we see that he's giving a free bottle of ether to this old man, which means that he's selling it to people. Cobell enters, and they clearly recognize her, and they're afraid of her, I guess because she works at Lumen. She then tells this man to meet her at the factory. He does meet her at the factory, and it's here that I really noticed that Cobell really matches her surroundings. I thought that it was a really cool choice to choose this location to be where she's from, because she has that very white hair, blue, icy eyes, just really, really matches the surroundings. I thought that was a really cool choice to have her come from that area. She asked this man to take her to a place called Sissy's, and it turns out that these two people used to actually be, or used to work for this factory as child labor at this ether factory, working the vats for like 10 hours a day. She needs his truck to hide in the back because she's afraid that they're going to recognize her car. And it's while she's hiding underneath the tarp that Devin calls for a second time. They make it to the house, and it's here that we meet this woman. I'm not sure if we caught her name. If we did, let me know in the comments below. But Cobell enters the house, and she goes to her room, where it looks like it's been emptied out, and the lady says that she sold everything. She tries to enter her mother's room, which is also Sissy. I'm not sure why she referred to her own mother as Sissy. I guess we'll find more out about that relationship in the future, but I found that to be kind of strange. This lady tells her that Mr. Drummond called. I didn't recognize that name and had to Google it. And it turns out Mr. Drummond is that big white guy that we've been talking about, who has the also very blue eyes. But then last episode, when he was in the underground area of Lumen, had brown eyes. Apparently Mr. Drummond called her, I guess, to be on the lookout for Cobell in case she came by. It turns out that Cobell's mother, Sissy, was not a believer in the Egans and in Kier at all. And she mentions the Wintertide Fellowship, which Cobell was a part of as a child. And this is the same apprenticeship that Miss Wong, the little Asian girl, is going through at the moment. We see that the Wintertide Fellowship was previously mentioned when Miss Wong was speaking to Milchek. And it's here that Cobell goes upstairs to look for the key to her mother's room. She was told that no one would be able to go into that room until everyone's met Kier. I believe that means after they're dead somehow. I'm not sure what this cult believes in yet. We're going to find out more in the future, but Cobell finds that key and finally goes to her mother's door. So she enters her mother's room, and it's at this point that I wasn't really sure if this was her mother or her sister, because she kept referring to her as Sissy, but later on it is confirmed that it is her mother. So I mentioned that breathing tube that Cobell had with her in her car. She brings that breathing tube in this room with her and hooks it to her mother's old breathing machine, and then decides to stick it in her mouth, lay down, and cry and breathe into it. I have no idea what this means, what kind of trauma this is. I have no idea what this means. Very strange. She then ends up sleeping the rest of the daytime there. And I found it weird that nobody does anything. That old lady downstairs just lets her pal around in the upstairs area all day. And that guy that drove her there, I guess, just sat in his car all day long while Miss Cobell just slept, and she didn't even try to look for the information she was trying to find. I thought it was a very strange thing. And then when the sun finally goes down he decides to enter the house. And when he enters her mother's room, he says, at least she doesn't have to live with Sissy anymore. But I thought Sissy was her mom. So now I'm thinking, was Cobell's mother the first person to be severed? Was she like the first experiment? And was half of her Cobell's mother, and the other personality was that Sissy? Because if you look on the sign just outside her bedroom door, it says her name, and then in the middle, in abbreviations, it says Sissy. I wonder if that was the name of her other personality, kind of like Helena to Helly. So you'd have Cobell's mom and then Sissy. They then sit on the bed together, and he asks her if she wants to get high, and they take a couple sniffs of the ether, and then they kiss. It's at this moment that he mentions that whatever she's looking for, she's not going to be able to find. And then she finally remembers that there's this basement just outside. I don't know why she just now remembers that that's there, but they go down to this basement, and he lets her go in there alone. And it turns out that she never sold any of her stuff. She just moved to that basement. And she finds this, I guess, some kind of trophy that she earned as a very good student or apprentice in the Wintertide Fellowship. And it's within this trophy that she's hidden these plans that we actually found out to be the plans to the chip and everything regarding what is going on with our main characters and the chips that they have in her head. It turns out that it was Miss Cobell's invention all along. We also find out with Miss Cobell's conversation with that old lady that not only did Lumen destroy this town, they created it. She says that Lumen destroyed it, and the woman replies that, there was no town before that ether factory. So everything that town ever had, they owe to the Egans because of that ether factory. And after it's revealed that Cobell actually invented the Severance, it's also revealed that if she ever sought credit, that she would be banished. And this even gets to the point to where when confronted with the truth, this old woman tries to hide the truth by burning it, which tells you that she really does not, people like her, they really don't care about the truth. They care about what they were brought up to believe. It's here that Cobell finally leaves when the man sees somebody coming. I guess they finally found out that she's there. She takes his vehicle and then rides off, and it's finally here that Devin calls for a third and final time, and Miss Cobell finally answers. She finds out that Mark has been reintegrated, and then asks Mark to tell her everything that he knows, and then the episode ends. I have to say, I definitely with this season, maybe the entire series, this is my least favorite episode. It just wasn't as interesting. It was also, I think, the shortest episode of the entire series. And this is the only time with this show that I felt like the information being given to me was kind of being drip fed to me. Because when it ended, I was like, okay, we definitely found out more about Cobell. Finding out that she invented Severance, definitely huge news. But I'm really in this show for Mark and Helly and Irv and Dylan and seeing what's going on with them. So I can appreciate like taking different episodes to focus on specific characters. It really worked for Miss Casey or Gemma in the last episode. That episode really worked. This one just didn't really work as much for me, and I'm really ready to get back to having multiple characters in all the episodes together. But anyway, guys, that's my thoughts on this episode. Like I said, my least favorite one so far. I still liked it. Still a good show. Still recommend it. Let me know what you guys disagree with me or agree with me on in the comments below. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time. Take it easy.